Hello everyone and welcome to r/ShortScaryStories, the series where I read short scary stories from Reddit and I rate them out of 5 spooky wookies. Just want to say a big thank you to everybody that's subscribing lately. We've gone huge. I think we've gained over 100 subs this month and we're currently at 224, which is incredible. I didn't think month ago when we were on I think 113 that I'd be saying this so soon. So thank you very much for everyone who's shared, who's subscribed, who's liked the content, the podcast, etc. And a big thank you to the guests that have joined me on the podcast and made them what they are. So if you listen to the Short Scary Stories segment and haven't looked at the podcasts, I thoroughly recommend you go and have a listen to a few and see how you like them, because we do have a good laugh on there. And we talk about spooky things too, so, you know, best of both worlds. Let's jump straight into the story, and it is again by the Queen of Horror, Hyper Obscura, and this one's called February 30th. This all happened on the day Laura Baker pulled out her teeth and tried to replace them with slugs. I suppose it's not really relevant to the story, but I figured it deserves a mention, since it was kind of weird. I guess I knew already when I woke up that it was going to be an unusual day. My mum was hovering over my bed, a bloody knife in one hand, and a mangled rat carcass in the other. "Breakfast?" she queried cheerfully. I shook my head and rubbed the sleep out of my eyes. "I'm vegan, remember?" "But it's February 30th, she complained. "We always dine on raw pests on February 30th. I shrugged and stumbled out of bed. Never heard of it. It's funny, you know, how your brain can just ignore stuff. Like your mother offering you a rat for breakfast. But then, the silliest notion, like a bird sitting outside your window, gets all the attention. It was a common grackle, but it was a rare one. I'm not sure how to explain it, so I'm not going to try. We made eye contact, and it smiled at me. "It's February 30th, it said. On my way to school, I thought about the rare common grackle, and how my mom kept trying to feed me rodents. It was pretty strange. I arrived 10 minutes late, spotting Maxwell, my third best friend, sitting naked in the parking lot. He seemed rather upset, so I figured I'd at least say hi. "Hi?" I said. "I can't feel my skin," Maxwell said, scraping a needle across his abdomen. I realised he must have been doing that for quite some time, because there wasn't any skin left. "That's because there isn't any skin left," I noted helpfully. I patted him on the shoulder and went inside. There was a lot of strange stuff going on. People banging their heads on the walls, stabbing their eyes out with scissors. Teenage hormones, probably. I passed Laura Baker in the hallway. She was pulling out her teeth with pliers, desperately trying to replace them with bloated slugs. I found it kind of weird. "It's February 30th, she said. I nodded. "It is, isn't it?" I replied. I stepped over the carcass of my second best friend, Connor, and sat down at my desk. "Blood," our teacher, Mrs. Richardson, said. "Inside body. There's a lot of blood." Like a diligent student, I took note of this fact. "Class, diseased," she said, pulling loose patches of skin from her face and throwing them at us. My first best friend, the boy with teeth for eyes and eyes for teeth, smiled at me. I'd never met him before, but he seemed nice. "We are coming for you," he blinked ominously. "Am I dead?" I asked. He chuckled with his eyes and winked with his mouth. "No one dies on February 30th. I nodded thoughtfully. "Rat kidneys?" he inquired, offering me some rat kidneys. No thanks, I said. Vegan. I actually found this one more funny than I did creepy, to be fair. There is a lot of creepy elements in, but I definitely had to pause a few times for a few chuckles. So especially Laura Baker. It's February 30th. Slugs for teeth, wow. Great. Good imagery, really great writing again. Not your creepiest, but I'm definitely giving that one a 4 out of 5 because I like what you've tried to do with the story and make it funny. It's horror humor is good. I enjoyed that. The next story is called Thank God My Wife Is Around, and this one was posted by Reddit user Static Rights. Goodbye, honey, Jenna says as she shuts the door. I'll be back soon. Maybe when you get better, we can have some real fun again. If you know what I mean. I smile as she leaves the house. Thank God for Jenna. Without her, I'd be dead right now. She's the one who feeds me, the one who dresses me, the one who gives me my medicine. I've been sick for about a year now. My days have been nothing but a rock slide of non-stop nausea, coughing, vomiting and diarrhea. But recently, it's been getting worse. Over the past month, I've started vomiting blood, and I can't even get out of bed. I rarely open my eyes and I fear my time may be running short. The only thing keeping me alive is Jenna. Every few hours she walks into the room, smiles and helps me swallow my medicine. A dark red pill that feels too big for my throat. My medicine. My medicine! Jenna forgot to give me my medicine! Frantically, I pull myself up and try desperately to make my way towards the medicine cabinet. Every step hurts. Every breath feels like a million stabs to the chest. Desperately, I take the final step and weakly swing the door open to the small wooden cabinet. I take a few quick glances around the cabinet, then begin unscrewing the caps to each of them, searching for the dark red pills. Finally, on the last pill bottle I find them. The red pills. I'm about to swallow one when I see it. My prescription. A small sheet of paper tucked into the corner of the cabinet, neatly folded. I pull it out and look at it. That is when the realization hits me like a wave of nausea. I stumble back, slamming my head against the headboard. Because now I know the truth. My pills aren't supposed to be red. They're supposed to be blue. Okay, so it's a good story and it's well written, but I've heard that story hundreds of times. A man or woman poisoning their partner with the wrong sort of prescription. I think it's been in TV shows, it's been in films, it's been, it's a very standard template for me. So I did like the Matrix reference though, the red and blue pills. So for me, like, it is a creepy story, but when you've just heard something over and over again, they've just changed a few things. And I don't mean to slam this story at all, because it is a good story, but the premise of it I've heard many times. I'm gonna have to give that one a 2 out of 5. Sorry, Static. Our next story is brought to us by Strike_Dead, and the title of the story is Dead. The first time was a surprise. He had woken up to a dead and decaying body laying beside him. He had to stifle a scream, for the eyes of the dead moved beneath its pale eyelids. He stayed there for a while before building enough courage to find out where he was, careful not to disturb the undead body right beside him. His hands explored the limited space. Making an educated guess, he pushed at the ceiling above. Not too hard, for the swinging lid could hit something on the other side and wake what he would rather not confront. Grabbing the lid, he set it down on the floor, looking around. Barely visible, a sea of grey coffins crowded the room he seemed to be trapped in. Moans escaped from some, and others were silent. Not a single sign of life erupting from the cracks in the horribly rotten wood of their coffins. Fear filled his veins, yet he knew what he had to do. A door, almost impossible to see, engraved in the stone walls. Weaving through the maze of what he could only assume contained the undead, he rushed to the door, eager to leave. Once he reached the door, he didn't hesitate. The door swung open wide to reveal his room. The lights were out, and the bed lay untouched. No sign of struggle to be seen. So, how had he gotten there? He stepped through the doorway, turning to look through the stone room once more, but it was gone. He stood, tired and confused, too tired to try and figure out what had happened. He shrugged it off as a simple dream and buried himself in the comforting familiarity of his bed. But it happened the next night, and the next. On and on it went. He woke up in a different coffin, with a different body each night. He always made it out safely, the room disappearing once he stepped through the doorway. It drove him insane. The careful steps to try and keep the undead that surrounded him asleep made his stomach cramp and his eyes burn, constantly worrying that he wouldn't make it out. He was right. No one ever escaped the undead. No one ever could. Maybe it was bad luck. Who knows? It was my job to ensure that he didn't live to see the joys of his life after his first visit. I sighed as I watched him trip on a coffin. A cry echoed through the chamber, awaking the undead from their slumber. He knew what would happen if they awoke while he was still in there. He always had. Nobody is perfect though. They all make mistakes. He screamed as they approached, fear clouding his mind. His screams grew louder as they ripped him apart, biting down on his thriveling flesh until he was reduced to nothing more than a pathetic pile of bones on the floor. Okay, I like that from the perspective of the person that makes you make a mistake. I don't know what they're called, but you know, that person. It's a good story. Definitely gave me some visuals in the old brain while reading this, so that's a bonus. I like how it is from a different perspective. However, I hope there's another story where it's from the actual person's perspective who gets eaten at the end. That would make a good sort of two-part story. But no, it's good, and it is creepy. I'd hate to every night wake up in a coffin next to an undead. Ugh. I'm gonna give that one a whole 4 out of 5. Really good story, enjoyed that. 3 really great stories tonight. I did enjoy reading them, even though I scrutinised one a little bit harshly, I think. I'm not gonna change my opinion on it though, purely for my own personal reasons. But if you think I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. Don't forget to check out the next podcast, which will be uploaded on Monday, hopefully. I will be recording it tomorrow, so hopefully it should all be edited and fantastic for Monday, as long as I don't have to do any strenuous editing like I did on the last one. Now, most of you might think that wasn't strenuous editing, but I edit basic things. I'm not a pro editor. I used to back in the day of Call of Duty uploads and doing edits for other people, but that's a long time ago. So watch out for that podcast anyway. Thank you for all the subscribers. And if you are new here and you do like what you see, leave a like, leave a comment if you don't like it, or if you do and you just want to give me some ego boosts, that'd be well appreciated. And subscribe if you like more than one thing. And finally, if you've made it this far, we have been playing Among Us in the Discord, which will be in the description. And I've been playing with quite a few of you, which has been great. And I've got to kill you a few times, you killed me a few times. It's all fun and games. It's February 30th. Take care.